So now that Mirrodin Besieged is online legal, we've changed our deck around a little bit. The new Besieged cards are Go for the Throat and Black Sun Zenith. Black Sun Zenith is in there as a one of right now, both because I only own one right now, the set has only just been released online, and because I'm still not sure which fits in better with the deck. The Zenith obviously can be a lot quicker against some decks, because a Zenith for 1 is fine against some decks, but that's not a lot of decks. Like Gildatha Red, a Zenith for 1 is pretty good, but I mean, Elves without an Archdruid Zenith for 1 is pretty good, but against most of the aggro decks, Boris as well with Steplinks and Plated GFA, Zenith for 1 is really good, but against like White Weenie and Elves with an Archdruid, you're gonna need to do a Black Sun Zenith for 2, which is still a mana cheaper than Consume the Meek. The things it doesn't have going for it is it's a sorcery and not an instant, although the instant speed rarely is taken into account. Vampires is the other aggro deck that you're going to generally be doing X equals 2. Yeah, the instant speed does come into account for tempo bonuses when the opposing deck is playing equipment, because they need to spend their mana to attach the equipment, and then you get them. They usually don't play extra guys pre-combat on their turn, unless it's a pumping guy. So you can also get elves with by playing their archdruids pre-combat to pump all their guys. But it is 1 mana more expensive. And the other thing Consume the Meek has going for it is it doesn't put -1/-1 counters on your Grave Titan. Both of these are going to kill your zombies. If you're late in the game where you've got a Grave Titan out and you've got zombies out, you're likely not going to be doing Zenith for 1. You're going to be doing it for 2 or 3, and that's going to kill your zombies. But it will make your Grave Titan significantly weaker and able to be blocked by 1 or 2 of the opponent's creatures. And Consume the Meek doesn't do that. I'm still playing Doomblades because I'm not sure what new artifact Tezzeret lists people are going to be running, and also White Weenie Quest is playing a lot of artifacts that require spot removal attention. Signal Pest is the other one that requires a Doomblade. So I haven't gone all Go for the Throats, but I have mixed in some Go for the Throats with some Doomblades, and I have a total of 7 main and board with the spot removal. The 2 mana spot removal. I can't actually, it's been a while, so I can't actually remember if I did a Decktech with the Spell Pierces main yet, but I found that Spell Pierce, against control, Spell Pierce worked in most of the situations. The Mana Leak worked and more, and in the control matchup, Mana Leak is basically just a totally useless card. Not like it has its uses, but you can use most of those uses without actually having the card in your hand, because it's mostly just a play around card that you've got to play lands and ship the turn to play around Mana Leak until you have enough to play your own spells, and that's when the counter wards come, and that's when the Spell Pierces really get them. So there still are some Mana Leaks, but I've gone down and I'm playing Spell Pierces now. I did have some hard counters in the deck, but I replaced those with Into the Royals, just because I was playing so many games where I had a counter in my hand, and I thought I would win this game if this was an Into the Royal. So I've changed those for Into the Royals, and everything else is basically the same. There's just some number changes. The one thing I'm not sure about yet is I want to try and fit, depending on how much Callblade there is in online, I want to be able to fit these Disfigures main, because there is very few ways to deal with a turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic getting a sword, but one of the ways is to on the draw is to have the 1 mana up to disfigure the Stoneforge Mystic and then have Mana Leak up, or have Spell Pierce up to counter the sword, or pass the turn, untap, play a second land, and have both Spell Pierce and Disfigure up, so then you can disfigure the Stoneforge, and then on their turn you can Spell Pierce the sword. Because if they get a sword into play, there are exactly 2 ways to remove that, and they're only temporary. And those are the Into the Royals. So the game is very hard to take control of once they have swords in play. And Disfigure works great against aggro as well. So it's basically just it's almost entirely dead against Valakut, and other than that, it's pretty good. Blue-black control lists, it's pretty bad against as well, but there don't seem to be as many of those as any of the other decks. I don't seem to run into them anyway. So that's about all that's changed with the deck. So I'm going to go do a daily now.